Hello, am I
Yes,
audible?
please begin. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon to everyone present here. I hope I am audible and everybody can hear me. The International Conference on Emerging Trends in Social Sciences and Humanities 2024 aims to create a dynamic platform for meaningful discussions among educators, researchers, policymakers, and practitioners. This conference aims to explore the latest developments and evolving research and landscapes within the expansive humanities and social sciences domain. Embracing an insightful approach, we intend to contribute substantively to the ongoing discourse on the future of education, considering the implications of the National Education Policy of 2020 and the shifting paradigms in research methodologies. A sincere desire to delve into newly developing fields of study that address the intricacies of society, politics, culture, and literature lies at the heart of this endeavor. The goal of the conference is to provide light on the complex relationships between cultural dynamics and human behavior by addressing these topics critically. Conference's theme resolves to weave through numerous aspects, urging attendees to interact in depth with the various of the humanities and social sciences. It is an intellectual journey that is intellectually collaborative and transcends the boundaries of academia, bringing diverse voices together to exchange deep ideas, questioning pre existing viewpoints, and jointly determine the direction of future research objectives. A very warm welcome to the paper reading session of the 11th Conference on Emerging Trends in Social Sciences and Humanities. I, Nashra Khan, along with my co-host Tanya, will be your host for this segment. We'll be having Dr. Bijendra Singh as the chairperson for this session, who is currently an associate professor of English at the Indira Gandhi University, Mirapur, Uttar Pradesh. And Ms. Farheen Syed, who is currently an assistant professor at Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Lucknow campus. Now, I would introduce Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, our esteemed director of Amity School of Languages. Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, senior Cambridge Honours graduate from Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University, was awarded the best thesis for her PhD degree on Henry Louis La Derosio, the first Anglo-Indian nationalist poet. Ma'am is an educational social activist with 46 years of teaching experience. She is guiding 8 PhD scholars and is external examiner of various universities. Ma'am is the founding member, professor, and director of Amity School of Languages. Her anthology, Breathe Free, Flow Free, published by Notion Press, is a reflection of challenging
Dr. Rashi, you unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yes, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
saying, Nashra, please continue. Nashra is not able to join us due to some technical error. So, Sanya, please continue the session.
Ma'am, I'm here. I'm here in the meeting.
Yes, but you're not audible. Uh,
Minute, ma'am.
Sanya, will you continue, please? Unmute yourself, Sanya.
Tanya, unmute yourself.
Before
Yes,
we
please
begin with the
continue.
session, respected presenters to kindly conduct of the session. I would now like to call upon our first presenter, Lakshmi Sri Thakur, ICFAI, and she will be presenting her research paper on the topic, A Theoretical Perspective on the Gender Roles and Responsibilities with Special Influence on Feminism.
Okay, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. I'm trying to share my screen. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lakshmi Sri Thakur, and I'm going to present my topic, A Theoretical Perspective on the Gender Roles and Responsibility with Spatial Influence on Feminism. So, with an introduction, I would like to say is that gender roles and stereotypes regarding attitudes and attributes and actions imposed on men and women based on gender. These kinds of preconceptions are usually harmful to society, yet understanding what they are and their history is crucial to overcoming them. So although at first glance many of these gender stereotypes may not seem harmful, they often cause damage anyways. For example, a common stereotype is that women should be nurturing mothers and caregivers. While this may not be sound too bad, it can lead to women being excessively burdened with social responsibilities. So gender roles related to consequences can show up in many ways. For example, often little girls are deprived of going to school due to their gender. Other similar gender-related problems often affect hospitals and workplaces too. So yet arguably the biggest problem with gender roles comes in the form of gender-based violence. Attacks on women can be motivated by sexual or ideological reasons, but many of them stem from harmful gender roles and stereotypes. Objective of the studies are to find out the status of the gender roles and responsibilities, to identify the importance of gender in respect to feminism. Now, in case of the types of gender, we have some types of gender like hyperfeminine. So, in case of hyperfeminine, is essentially overdoing all the female stereotypes to be the most feminine person you can be. We can look at this definition and now know that not having children does not make you any less feminine, but in traditional gender roles, it is crucial. So hypermasculine is over stereotyping male characteristics such as strength, sexuality, and wealth. While society has actually evolved in understanding that men can be feminine, women can be masculine, and people do not have to fit into these predetermined roles. These previous ones still influence the current expectations. And the last one is egalitarian society, believes that everyone is equal and should be treated the same and have the access to all opportunities. In egalitarian societies, this concept refers to social classes and gender, but here we're just going to focus on gender only. So here women and men in relationships would work, take care of the house and raise their children together. So the next slide, sorry. In the next slide, like transitional gender roles. Transitional gender roles, the man is still the primary source of income. Still, the woman has more freedom outside the traditional position to pursue a career outside the homemaking. While countless women have careers of companies, children, this is the type of the gender role that American society is most in line with. Typically, the man is still the breadwinner while the woman works she can until she has to sacrifice part of her career for children. Impact of gender roles. So unfortunately, gender roles, stereotypes, and impacts transcended our lives before we were even aware of what a stereotype was. So from childhood, we get conditioned to act in ways that align with our gender, making it challenging to have preferences outside the gender norm. Since it has been ingrained in us since we are children, it makes it harder to understand the problems until we are older. The older generations condition the younger generations with the traditional one. So these are some of the causes of gender roles. Experts often, discuss the origin of the gender roles, while many attribute them to biological factors. Other points out that it all comes from the sociological aspects. Like whatever may be the case, it's clear the gender roles, as we know, that today mostly originated during the Victorian era. In the Victorian era, which comprises most of the 19th century, actually mostly where men were expected to present themselves in public spheres such as politics and business, women were expected to stay at home taking care of their private spheres. So while not all women and men abided by these stereotypes, so So for example, like the term new woman was often used to insult women who fought for their right to higher education and voting. Eventually, different areas across all the continents started rejecting colonialism, embracing new ideas regarding gender roles in a society. Because pre-colonialist societies often had man and woman working together, the new Victorian ideology was strongly rejected. This way, many movements came together, merging political and economic claims along with the gender-related ideas. So these are some changing gender roles in society. Number one is the parents. Someone's upbringing is influenced by how they view gender roles. So if a person is raised in a conservative traditional home, they will most likely have traditional gender views. Next one is the family. Family refers to extended family outside of the people who the child lives with. If a family only buys and exposes the child to choices or opportunities in line with the gender stereotypes, that can influence the child perception of gender norms. Next one is the friends. Peer influences are an extremely important part of our lives. Typically, we surround ourselves with the people who share the same interests and views we do, reinforcing the pre-existing beliefs. And last one is the media. Media is a huge influence that often cannot be controlled by parents, depending on what the child is exposing themselves to. Traditional gender roles can either be encouraged or discouraged. These are some prohibitions of gender stereotypes and gender stereotyping. So in case of article number 5, states parties shall take all the appropriate measures to modify the social and cultural patterns of conduct of men and women with a view to achieving the elimination of prejudices and customary and all other practices which are based on the idea of inferiority or the superiority of either of the sexes or stereotyped roles for men and women. These are the article number 81B. State parties undertake to adopt immediate and effective appropriate measures to combat the stereotypes, prejudices, and harmful practices. That is the rights to non-discrimination and equality provided under other international human rights treaties such as the Convention on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights and the Convention on the Rights of the Children have also been interpreted to include discrimination and inequality that are rooted in stereotype, including gender stereotypes also. So in order to conclude, it is said that it is a contributing factor in violations of a vast array of rights, such as the right to health, educate, standard of living, education, marriage and family relations, work, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, political participation, and representation. Effectively remedy and freedom from the gender biased violence. So these are some of the references. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for a lovely presentation. Uh, we will now move to the next presenter. And before moving forward, I would like to say that I'm Dr. Rashi Srivastava, Assistant Professor, Amity School of Languages, and I request all the participants to adhere to the time limit of 5 minutes, okay, because we have a number of participants. And please keep it brief and give an overview of your research findings. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Moving to the next participant, we have Deepshikha, Miss Deepshikha from Amity School of Communication, Amity University. Her title is Reimagining Bihar's Education System, a qualitative study of the implementation and impact of India's new education policy 2020. Uh,
Yeah.
Deepshikha, ma'am,
Am
are
I
you there?
audible? Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am, you
audible.
are audible.
Yeah. Okay.
You may begin, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Can you see my PPT?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deepshikha. I'm a research scholar at Amity University, and my title is Reimagining Bihar Education System: A Qualitative Study of the Implementation and Impact of India's New Education Policy 2020. So the introduction part is education is the cornerstone for societal progress and for fostering intellectual growth, cultural enhancement, and economic development. And also as a part of the border examination of the NEP nationwide implementation, this qualitative study focus on the specific impact on the state of Bihar. These are some policies like early childhood care and education, fundamental literacy and numeracy, holistic development learner, these are some literature review. According to Gaithwell, found that insight from teachers, students, parents, and administrators shed light on the challenges, opportunities, and overall experience associated with the implementation of the NEP 2020 in the state. World Bank 2012 found that community outreach program are another important communication strategy for promoting social change. These programs can be effective in building support for social change and mobilizing communities to take action, according to UNICEF 2013. And these are the major initiatives for India's new education policy 2020. First one is holistic and multidisciplinary education. Second, early childhood care and education. Third is reducing curriculum content. Fourth is vocational education. And fifth one is teacher training, continuous professional development. These are my objective. The first one is to find out the key components of India's new education policy 2020 and how they have been implemented in the context of Bihar education system, to explore challenges that have emerged during the implementation of the new education policy 2020 in Bihar, particularly considering the infrastructure, teacher training, and curriculum development, to find out that how stakeholders, including teachers, students, parents, and educational administrators, have responded to the change brought about the NEP 2020 in Bihar. Fourth one is to find out the impact of NEP 2020 on the acceptability and the quality of education in Bihar, especially in rural and marginal communities. So these are my research questions: that how does the implementation of India's new education policy 2020 influence the reimagining of Bihar education system? What are the perceived impact on key stakeholders, including educator, student, and parents? In research methodology, I was used the case study. So select Bihar as a case study to investigate the specific implementation and impact of a new education policy. Qualitative method. First, I interview stakeholders like some is policy maker, educator, student, parent, and community member. Expert interviews, document analysis like report and policy paper related to implementation of a new education policy in Bihar. In data analysis, I use thematic data analysis coding to identify the pattern, theme, and trends in the collected data, and also triangulate method findings from different sources to enhance the validity and reliability of the study. These are some pictures, few images that stakeholders I interviewed for the study. There are 2 teachers, 1 male and 1 female, 8 family members, child development program officer, block development program officer, and district magistrate. Qualitative data. Limitation of this my study's result may not be generalized to a larger population. Finding may be influenced by the researcher's subjectivity and interpretation. Resource constraints, access to information limited to access to relevant data or information can constrain the study. If there are restriction and accessing certain document or stakeholders, the study depth and comprehensive may be compromised. And these are the reference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for an insightful presentation. Okay. Moving to the next presenter.
I
Yes,
request
sir.
all the presenters, please be brief, of course, but they are to point out their findings, right? Rather
Yes.
than reading these slides, the audience are reading themselves. So better you communicate to the audience directly, right? Rather than reading the slides in the meeting, right? That would be better so that you may convey your ideas and convey your findings to the audience. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Moving to the next presenter, we have Dr. Shreya Datta, Amity University, Rajasthan. The title of her paper is The Representation of Multiculturalism in Jil Tamaki and Moriko Tamaki Scheme, an Analytical Study. Dr. Shreya?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Please begin.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, one and all present here. The title of my paper is The Representation of Multiculturalism in Jil Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki Scheme, an Analytical Study. Multiculturalism is a significant and very pervasive theme in Canadian literature, reflecting the country's commitment to diversity and inclusivity. Canadian literature often explores the complexities and nuances of multiculturalism, considering the experiences of various ethnic, cultural, and linguistic communities. Canada's history of immigration and Indigenous cultures are fundamental to the country's heterogeneous literary environment. Scheme is a graphic novel written by Mariko Tamaki and illustrated by her cousin Jillian Tamaki. Uh, Jill Tamaki, also we say. The novel was first published in 2008 and it has received critical acclaim for its exploration of complex themes such as adolescence, identity, and cultural diversity. The plot of the novel is set in 1993. It narrates the tale of a Japanese Canadian, Kimberly Cameron. She is also known as a Skim by her friends. She attends an all girls Catholic high school and she is an uninteresting, typical goth teenager. She has all the normal trials that come with being a young girl, including growing up, changing friendship, sexuality, and social standing. The story unfolds as a scheme deals with the suicide of a classmate and the impact it has on the school community. Against this backdrop, Scheme engages in self discovery, questioning her place in the world and exploring her thoughts and feelings through a journal. The novel doesn't follow a traditional narrative structure, and instead, it presents a series of vignettes and reflections on Scheme's experiences. This format allows for a deeper exploration of Skim's internal world and her interactions with the people around her. In the graphic novel, the authors provide a very thought provoking representation of multiculturalism that challenges conventional narratives and explores the complexities of identity and belonging in a diverse society. Drawing upon their own experiences and backgrounds, the authors present a diverse cast of characters from different ethnicities, racial backgrounds, and cultural heritages. These characters navigate the intersections of their identities, highlighting the nuances and struggles of multicultural individuals in a predominantly white community. Through the character of Skim, a Japanese Canadian teenager, the authors explore the themes of cultural assimilation and the tension between fitting in and maintaining one's cultural heritage. By presenting Skim's experiences and interactions with characters from different cultural backgrounds, the authors delve deeper into the complexities of multiculturalism, showcasing how individuals grapple their own identities and the pressures of societal expectations. This novel offers a nuanced portrayal of multiculturalism, highlighting the challenges and triumphs of individuals navigating multiple cultural identities in a diverse society. In this very mentioned novel, the portrayal of diversity also plays a very crucial role in shaping the narrative. The analysis of racial remarks in Scheme reveals how subtle and insidious forms of racism operate within the narrative, highlighting the pervasive nature of racism in everyday life. Overall, the analysis of diversity in Scheme highlights how race, institutional control, and mental illness intersect to create a complex web of power dynamics that shape and stigmatize the experiences of marginalized individuals. To conclude, this is a novel which skillfully navigates the intersections of cultural identity, diversity, and the complex experiences through the lens of Scheme's Japanese Canadian heritage and the diverse high school setting. The authors present a very thought provoking commentary on the richness and challenges of multicultural experiences. The visual elements and the narrative contribute to a tapestry that reflects the intricate layers of identity within a Canadian context. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was indeed a very brief yet interesting presentation. And yes, graphic novel is an emerging trend in social sciences and humanities. Okay, moving on.
Of
Uh,
course,
moving to
indeed.
the rest. Thank you, ma'am. Moving to the next presenter, we have Saika Haider, who is a PhD research scholar in the Department of English, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. And the title of her paper is An Examination of Disability Representation in Anita Desai's Clear Light of Day and Bapsi Sindhwa's Ice Candy Man. Ma'am, can you hear me? Saika Heather?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. You may begin.
Worthy chairperson of the session and respected audience, a very good afternoon to one and all. I am Saika Haider, research scholar in the Department of English, Manu, Hyderabad. I am here to present my paper entitled An Examination of Disability Representation in Anita Desai's Clear Light of Day and Bapchi Chidwa's Ice Candy Man. I have divided my paper in abstract, introduction, part first, part second, and conclusion. First of all, I am reading the abstract of the paper. Worldwide, people with disabilities are regarded as one of the marginalized groups. Disabled people have historically faced alienation. Disability is stigmatized in the social perspective. Not only are disabled people physically encapsulated, but society also disowns them. My research paper explores the complex representation of disability in two important literary works, Ice Candy Man by Bapsi Sidhwa and Clear Light of Day by Anita Desai. The study uses a critical perspective to examine how these two novels negotiate the complex aspects of disability within the socio-political landscapes of post-colonial India, with a focus on the intersectionality of disability and culture. Through a close examination of characters, stories, and social perspectives on disability, this study seeks to illuminate the complicated issues surrounding the portrayal of people with disabilities in the two selected texts. The paper emphasizes the value of genuine and nuanced depiction in promoting inclusivity and advances a larger knowledge of the role literature plays in influencing societal attitudes regarding disability. Coming to the introduction part of my presentation, the depiction of disabilities in literature underscores the inequity and discrimination that disabled people face. People with disabilities are either completely erased from the narrative or they are seen exclusively as something to be cured and pitied. Along with normal characters, the disabled characters try to create spaces of their own in story. It's important to understand disability as part of one's identity, much like race, class, gender, sexuality, and normality. Post-colonial writers may tell clear stories about colonialism and its effects more easily when they have a disability. So, disability serves as a symbol of the devastation a post-colonial nation has endured. In exploring themes of identity, representation, space, historicity, and the neo-colonial, post-colonial theory and related fields have explored race, gender, ethnicity. However, they have largely ignored disability, which is ironically linked to the historically subjectification of the able-bodied, or rather disembodying colonialism and the post-colonialism terrain. Both Bapsi Sirva, both Bapsi Sirva's Ice Candy Man and Anita Desai's Clear Light of Day require a disability studies critical framework to explore in addition to a post-colonial lens. A disability studies framework is thus required to highlight the fact that the crippled characters in both the works simply reflect post-colonial difficulties as they use their disabilities to address the realities of a post-colonial society. Anita Desai's Clear Light of Day presents the story between pre and post independence about the history of an extended family and the tragedies they faced. The novel centers on the Das family who have grown apart with childhood. It tells the story of the eldest sister called Bim, who is a history professor and caretaker of the disabled character Baba, who is the youngest brother. He is the youngest child of the Das family, who was born when the mother seemed to be aged, due to which he was born with disabilities and mental development problems. While growing up, Baba took a long time to learn to walk, and he never quite learned to speak. Baba doesn't like, but he seems to understand others, and yet he is never understood also. He likes playing songs on the gramophone
all day long, which creates noise pollution for the normal characters in the novel, and he's agitated when he is unable to do so. Coming to the second part of the presentation, that's towards Bapsi Sidhwa's Ice Candy Man. Bapsi Sidhwa is an internationally renowned diasporic writer whose third novel, Ice Candy Man, won her unacclaimed fame. Pictures a child protagonist, Lenny, who was actually a reminiscent of Sidhwa's own
Ma'am,
childhood.
sorry
Like
to
Lenny, Sidhwa
interrupt.
suffered.
Saika ma'am,
Okay.
just I would like to remind you that we are exceeding the time limit. Could you please conclude your paper?
Yes, ma'am. I have already divided
Yes.
the paper in small portions. I
Yes,
am leaving.
please.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Into the time limit also, let, let
Yes.
me conclude that. So we can conclude that disability and post-colonialism are two significant and interlinked discourses in the social formation of the nation and of those bodies deemed worthy of social responsibility right. Post-colonial themes are frequently used metaphorically within disability studies. Post-colonial literature is particularly suited to a disability study regarding because of, among other reasons, the repeated use of body as allegory for nation. At the same time, the analysis for the analysis of identity formation, the focus on marginalized population, and the commitment to explore the diverse specificity of human experience as part of post-colonial studies has significant value for scholars in the disability studies field, which up until recently lacked a global perspective. So this was all about my presentation. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was indeed a very good paper from you. Now we'll move on to Ms. Sagarika Debroy. She is from Institute of Chartered Financial Analysis, India, University of Tripura. Her paper title is Family Relation and Loneliness Among Young Substance Abusers of Tripura. Ma'am, are you here? Sagarika, ma'am? Okay, I think she is not here, so we'll move to the next one. We'll have Priyadarshini Purohit from Vanasthali Vidyapeeth. The title of her paper is Emerging Dynamics in India's Maritime Geopolitics, Prospects and Obstacles in Indo-Pacific Region. Ma'am, are you here? Priyadarshini, ma'am? Okay. So we'll move to Dr. Anand Bajaj, Devilit Jalandhar. The title of his paper is Post-Colonial Reflections in the White Tiger, Unpacking Societal Transformations. Over to you, sir. Sir, you are not audible.
Sir, kindly unmute yourself. So maybe there is some issue in your device.
Sir, you can remove the hands-free and just talk to the phone or the device that you're using.
Hello,
Yeah, audible.
audible?
Yes,
Good.
you're
Thank you
audible,
so
sir.
much.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I'll try to share the screen. Just give me a minute. So I hope it is visible. Is it?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, the title of the paper is Post-Colonial Reflections on the White Tiger, Unpacking Societal Transformations. So during the presentation, I'll be talking about 3 or 4 major things. The first one is neo-colonial foundations in the White Tiger. So basically, I'll be talking about the caste structures and their persistence in the contemporary times. And the second important factor will be economic disenfranchisement, because of which certain sections of society, they're always relegated to the darkness or shadows of India. So because of these two factors, the middle class of India, the brown masters, if I can call them, have donned the white mask, and to use Fenon's word, they have become whiter than the whites. The second structure that I'll be highlighting will be economic exploitation, along with neocolonial frameworks. Third one will be subaltern voices and neocolonial silencing. How in neocolonial setups, subalterns do not have an agency, and how in the novel, one subaltern tries to assert himself and partly succeeds. Why partly? Because his means are not very right. And lastly, I'll be talking about the protagonist transformation as a symbol of nation in flux. So, very quickly, the introduction. Post colonial literature actively interrogates principles such as social justice, resistance, freedom, and egalitarianism in its endeavor to confront authoritarian structures characterized by racial discrimination, prejudice, and systematic mistreatment. So basically, post-colonial literature, or post-colonialism, I should say, talks about giving a voice to the marginalized. Well, it's an umbrella term, and there are multiple thinkers in it. So I have basically talked about Frantz Fanon's concepts of neocolonialism, as it gives us a lens through which we can scrutinize the white tiger and its protagonist, Balram Halwai. This narrative encapsulates the psychological intricacies and internal conflicts experienced by individuals within a post colonial society, grappling with the lasting impacts of historical hierarchies. These are the colonial legacies that we have today. So, Balram's journey serves as a microcosm, offering insights into the nuanced complexities of neocolonial structures. So, the first structure now, neocolonial foundations in White Tiger. At its core, neocolonialism signifies the persistence of colonial influence in post colonial settings, often manifested through economic, political, and cultural channels. In White Tiger, this concept finds resonance in the enduring power dynamics that shape Balram's existence. Balram Halwai's journey serves as a microcosm of these neocolonial structures as he transcends traditional socio-economic boundaries. Of course, as I said, the means are not very just, but he does succeed, which also serves as a commentary on the current state of affairs in the Indian society. So, economic exploitation that Balram faces initially as a low caste individual in a rural village and later as a servant in urban centers mirrors the neo-colonial inequalities ingrained in the post colonial society. Additionally, Balram's act of murdering his master Ashok symbolizes a resistance against the perpetuation of power dynamics inherited from the colonial era. The important thing here is the rooster coop. It is, of course, a metaphorical thing used by Adiga that further emphasizes the inherited slavery experienced by the underprivileged, showcasing how neocolonial frameworks confine individuals to predetermined roles. So, this employment of rooster coop is there to illustrate the inherent enslavement, as I said earlier on. A line that supports the vision: the roosters in the coop smell of blood. They seek the organs of their brothers lying around them. They know they are next, yet they do not rebel. They do not try to get out of the coop. So, such is the state of affairs of domination of the marginalized, that they have accepted their lot. Their voice has been silenced. They suffer in complete silence. They observe the suffering. They are aware of it. Still, they don't raise their voice. The metaphor of the coop, rooster coop, serves as Balram's deliberate expression, portraying the oppressed, confined, and vulnerable state of the average Indian population. He recognizes that survival necessitates a rebellion against the conventional way of life. However, Balram aspires not to remain a mere rooster in a coop. Rather, he yearns to become a member of the eaters. So, from a mere rooster, he actually wants to join
Sorry
the
to interrupt
dominating
you,
class.
sir.
Sorry?
Anand, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly wrap up, sir, because your
Okay.
PPT is not also moving now, and time
Okay,
limit is
fine. So
over.
I'll shift on to the other aspects. Economic exploitation in the neo-colonial framework. So Balram's trajectory from a small village to becoming a successful entrepreneur in bustling urban centers of Delhi and Bangalore mirrors the economic dimension of neo-colonialism. The exploitation he experiences at the hands of the wealthy elite is emblematic of the economic structures that perpetuate neo-colonial inequalities. His narrative becomes a commentary on how the post colonial economic order continues to marginalize the subaltern, replicating historical patterns of exploitation. As in the British rule, the Indians, the natives, they were always they always played the second fiddle. So similarly, while Balram lived in the darkness, that is the part of India that does not have access to education and economic opportunities, he always played the second fiddle, and it was his yearning to become the part of the elite and to exploit people that drove him to murder his master Ashok. So White Tiger critically addresses the societal inequalities present in India. The destiny of the subaltern is intricately molded by those in power. So individuals residing in the shadows of India are predestined to fulfill the roles of servitude to the masters, and Balram Halwai decides to power his way out of this servitude. So here's the explanation part. I'll be skipping it quickly. So as I said earlier on, subaltern voices in a neo-colonial setting are always silenced. So Balram is just one exception. And why is he the exception? Because as the title suggests, he is the white tiger. Very rare thing. Uh, White tigers are not normally found, and similar is the character of Balram. So Balram's transformation is a symbol of a national flux. His transformative journey from rural village to bustling metropolis serves as a symbolic representation of the dynamic evolution of nation in flux, aligning with Benedict Anderson's concept of imagined communities. This trajectory is exemplified by Balram's relocation to Delhi, bustling urban center that embodies the amalgamation of traditional and modern
Sir, kindly
influences.
wrap up.
Ma'am, just one or two slides if you allow me. Do
Sir,
you?
your slides are not moving. I told you earlier also.
I missed that part, ma'am, because I'm sorry. So
Mm.
I'll wrap it up. Just give me a minute. So in conclusion, the paper brings to light the enduring impact of colonial legacies on social dynamics of India, as depicted through the lens of subaltern studies and the character of Balram Halwai. The novel, with its intricate portrayal of resistance, socio-economic disparities, and reimagining of the marginalized voices, offers a rich tapestry that invites readers to contemplate the intricate interplay of power, identity, and societal evolution in the post-colonial era. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, now I will move to the next presenter. That is Samita Singh from Government DB Girls PG Autonomous College, Raipur. The title of her paper is Khalid Hosseini's The Kite Runner, an insight into Afghan culture. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I am Samhita Singh, research scholar from Government DB Girls PG Autonomous College, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. The title of my paper is Khalid Hosseini's The Kite Runner, an insight into Afghan culture. So I will be sharing my screen now. Just give me a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Okay, so here are the contents. First, I'll give a short biography of the writer. Then I'll move on to discuss the content of the Kite Runner, and then we will discuss.
Excuse me, Samhita. Excuse
Yes,
me, Samhita.
yes, sir.
So not only you, all the presenters are requested to be brief, and uh, this biographical part or other way around is not necessary in presentation. When we present anywhere in any conference and we have limited time, then we are to just speak about our findings and what we are talking about that is new to the audience, not about the text quotations, this, that, research methodology, and your objective of course will be there, but what you have something new to the audience, so that is necessary. And to contextualize, you can use other material, otherwise main focus must be on your findings, not about this research methodology, objective, this, that, like that. So please take care.
Okay, sir, I'll be brief. So, may I begin?
Sure,
Yes, ma'am.
Samita, continue.
Please, ma'am, begin.
Okay. So this novel Kite Runner, which got published in the year 2003, centers on the character Amir. He is in search for redemption. This novel is divided into three major sections, and in all the three sections, we can find several glimpses of Afghan culture, starting from language, ethnicity, marriage customs, religious principles, and much more to speak about. Now, talking about Afghan culture in the Kite Runner, then the most
Samhita ma'am,
important as
your PPT is not moving. Kindly start the slideshow, or if you can select the next slides.
ma'am, I am showing the slideshow only.
Okay, okay. Then you please continue. And I would suggest that please come on the findings of your paper.
Yes, ma'am, these are the findings only, the glimpses of Afghan culture.
Okay, ma'am. Sure. Continue.
So the very first aspect which I will be discussing is language. So Afghan is a multilingual country where there are two official languages. One is Persian and another one is a dialect of Afghan Persian, which is Dari. And Khalid Hosseini in his novel has mostly portrayed and included words from Dari origin, like Khoshti, which means handsome, Shirini Khori or eating of the sweet ceremony, kursi, inshallah, chapan, bismillah, chai, bus, all such things. And it has been portrayed in a remarkable manner. Then, next important concept which is highlighted in the story is ethnicity. We can find conflict between two different ethnic communities of Afghanistan. One is Pashtun, which is a dominant ethnic community, and another one is Hazara. And Hazaras were basically dominated and suppressed by the Pashtun community, and this can be exemplified by the harassment which was done to Hassan, who belonged to a Hazara community, by Asif, who was from Pashtun community. And the only reason which he gave to assault Hassan was because Hassan was a Hazara. So that conflict can be seen right from the beginning to the end. Third important concept is marriage customs. Here, in this novel, Khalid Hosseini has discussed about several marriage customs in Afghanistan, like the swearing ceremony or the love ceremony, the engagement ceremony. A whole chapter has been dedicated to depict the marriage customs. And the last important aspect of Afghan culture, which I'll be discussing, is leisure activities, which are some sort of stress busters for people. And two leisure activities have been discussed. One is kite flying, which is conducted every winter, and another one is Buzkashi, which is the national passion of Afghanistan. It is generally, this tournament is played on the New Year day. So, to conclude my paper, I would like to say that Kite Runner is truly a great literary masterpiece which portrays each and every aspect of Afghan culture in a remarkable way. And I feel that culture can be described in a very vivid manner through the lens of literature. And this novel is definitely an amalgamation of cultural values, cultural identity, familial bond, and relationship. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Samhita ma'am, for such a wonderful presentation. And indeed, Khalid Hosseini's The Kite Runner is one of the most best-selling novels, and we all can relate to it. Okay. Moving to the next presenter, we have Dr. Monica Gaur, who is from Chaudhry Charan Singh University, Meerut. The title of her paper is Digital Fluency, a Shield Against Cyber Threat. Dr. Monica Gaur, are you there? Dr. Monica? Okay, I don't think that she's in this meeting. Moving to the next presenter, we have Dr. Bhavna Wall from Amity University. The title of her paper is NEP 2020 and Revamped Indian Multiculturalism. Analyzing a New Education Landscape. Dr. Bhavna, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Yes,
Can I
Dr.
start?
Bhavna. Yes. And before you start, Samhita ma'am, please stop sharing your screen.
I have
Some.
stopped sharing.
Okay, okay.
Uh, Good
Yes, Dr.
afternoon.
Bhavna, please begin.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Bhavna Wal, and the topic of my paper presentation is NEP 2020 and the revamped Indian multiculturalism, analyzing a new educational landscape. It is a well-known fact that in a vast and a huge country like India, multiculturalism is a basic pivot or the base on which stands the warp and weft of Indian ethos and identifies the country that we know as India. It is, in fact, it is this cultural diversity that has bound this nation together over the millennia. The cross-culturalism, as we understand, is so deep-rooted in the Indian character that not only is it defined in people's daily lives, but is reflected due to that definition of its being defined in people's daily lives and the routine activities, that it has been reflected in the new educational policy 2020 of the present government. It takes this appeal to an all new level in the educational discipline. Even as the policy recognizes the importance of holding the vast multicultural spirit of India, it is imperative to understand that young learners or the young students who are a part of this NEP 2020 now are made aware of the linguistic and the cultural assortment so pervasive in the Indian culture. And why is this important? This is important because it is they need to understand what is the India country as they understand and look at it. So therefore, the statement of the problem is that NEP 2020 attempts to end discontinuity in the Indian knowledge systems by integrating ancient practices into the curriculum at all levels, thereby enabling a multicultural education for students to get familiar with the country's different ethnic and cultural mosaic. The study's two objectives are first to assess how this new education policy boosts multiculturalism integration for young learners and also for other students to develop their interpersonal and intrapersonal skills, and second to analyze how this process of learning has helped to change society by bringing change in the education structure of the country through the concept of multiculturalism. Secondary data has been used to analyze the study, and one finding that comes out is that learners are gradually imbibing the skills to thrive in a multicultural environment. And the second result shows that multicultural transformations are beginning to touch the Indian society. Now, this is important because, as I initially said, that multiculturalism does define India, but it is also important that this multiculturalism spirit is actually having a multiplier effect. It is preserved, it is and also conserved for the future generations. It can only be through the medium of education and nothing else, apart from other factors too. So therefore, in conclusion, I would like to say that NEP 2020 implementation is surely inching towards its stated goal of multicultural Indian spirit. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ma'am. And indeed, NEP 2020 has been so monumental and giving so many directions. And your paper is indeed also giving new horizons and new research in this field. Thank you, ma'am. Moving to the next presenter, we have Dr. Chandni Sen Gupta from Southern New Hampshire University, United States of America. The title of her paper is Contextualizing Nationalist Children's Literature in India, the role of Amar Chitrakatha in promoting nationalist narratives. Dr. Chandni, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please,
Yeah.
you may
A
begin.
very good afternoon. A very good afternoon to the session chair and to the organizing team of this international conference. Um, I would begin by introducing myself. I'm currently associated with the Southern New Hampshire University, US, as an adjunct faculty, where I teach courses in humanities and social sciences. I would now like to share my PowerPoint presentation with you all. Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
All right. So, uh, as Dr. Srivastav very rightly, uh, introduced the topic, I would again like to introduce my topic very briefly, which is contextualizing nationalist children's literature in India and the role played by Amar Chitra Katha, which was a children's book collective, and how Amar Chitra Katha basically played a role in promoting nationalist narratives and how it has been doing so over the past so many years, ever since its establishment in the 1970s. As far as the contents of this presentation is concerned, I have divided that into various sections. I'll be giving a very brief introduction where I'll be going over the historiography of what various scholars have said about the impact of children's literature, and primarily I've looked at a couple of theorists in this regard. I'll be very briefly touching upon the methodology and then moving on to the results, the discussion and conclusion, and then of course the references. Now, as far as the introduction is concerned, two theoretical concepts that I would like to discuss here are children's literature as a medium for nation building, which is something that we need to understand, and the emergence and portrayal and projection of national heroes in children's literature. So as far as the first segment is concerned, there are various scholars who have looked at children's literature and the significance of this genre. Peter Hunt, for instance, has looked at the fact that children's literature has a lot to contribute in terms of acquisition of cultural values. Similarly, Paul Hazard has said that children's literature forms the soul of a nation, and it helps in preserving its characteristic features. In terms of children's literature in Nigeria, there is Edebor Bello and James Okpilia, who have looked at the fact that this genre of literature has a lot of potential for serving, as a tool for nation building and, inspiring the youth. And as far as Canadian literature is concerned, Jerry Diakiv's work also says that it has played a very significant role in affirming Canadian cultural identity. Now, the second theoretical concept here is national heroes and how national heroes are portrayed. Now, as far as children's literature is concerned, we can break that down into various, segments. One is, of course, fiction, which has fantasy, animal fantasy, contemporary realistic fiction, and historical fiction. And then there is non-fiction, which has biographies, autobiographies, and so on and so forth. So, children's literature is a very important medium for what you can call hero making, right? Hero is a gender neutral term that I'm using here. So it has a lot of potential for hero making, and children greatly, get inspired by these heroes, whether you look at it from the world perspective or from the Indian perspective. Children do greatly get inspired by what they read. The methodology, I have looked at Amar Chitra Katha books, particularly the historical, the ones that deal with historical personalities from the ancient, medieval, and modern periods, so as to delineate various epochs of Indian history. And of course, analysis of secondary works has also been done. Now, as far as the results are concerned, I have again divided that into the three phases. As far as the ancient period is concerned, the Amar Chitra Katha book on Chanakya, calls him, mentions him as a great nationalist, also talks of him as the kingmaker, someone who was so averse to the foreign rule over Magad that he wanted to, bring about a change. And he was the one who inspired Chandragupta Maurya, which is, of course, the fact. But Chanakya is, touted as a great nationalist. Similarly, King Lalitaditya, about whom we all know he was a great visionary. He's been referred to as the warrior poet of Kashmir. So these are epithets or titles that are given to all these historical figures, and not looking at the figures, very popular figures that Amar Chitra Katha also brought about, like, for example, Lord Rama or Lord Krishna and others. These are just historical figures that I have referred to here. Lord Harsha has been referred to the gallant king of Kannauj. Again, and the way he, even before becoming the king, he thwarted the attacks of the Hunas. Similarly, in the medieval period, Prithviraj Chauhan, his valor and chivalry has been, projected in a very, very significant manner. Rana Kumbha, he has been referred to as a pillar of Rajput pride. Again, something that is very significant because he has also been projected as a very important Rajput warrior. Maharana Pratap, we've all heard of their names, of course, and the epithet that has been given to him is he fought for freedom. So there's this way in which these heroes and their narratives are being built, and rightfully so. As far as the modern period is concerned, we have popular names like the Rani of Jhansi, who's been referred to as the flame of freedom, and the way she stood against the British Raj, and that has been projected very accurately in the Amar Chitra Katha book on her. Similarly, Mangal Pandey and how he took up arms against the British, that has also been projected. Velu Thampi, a name which may not be very familiar, but he was the Diwan of Travancore, and he, in fact, was extremely upset with the fact that the British have been oppressing us for so long. So he also played a very important role in throwing the British yoke. Jatindranath Mukherjee, also known as Bagha Jatin. In fact, the epithet Bagha Jatin became popular because of its usage in this text in Amar Chitra Katha, and how he used guerrilla warfare techniques to teach the British a lesson. So that is something that was very important. So if you look at the results of this research, I have looked at all the three epochs of Indian history and tried to look at how Amar Chitra Katha has actually been very successful in projecting these people as nationalist heroes. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that these books, of course, have played a very significant role in, setting up the nationalist narrative. And most scholars, a lot of them, including Nandini Chandra and others, have tried to look at it from the communal perspective. But if you look at, if you analyze the works in depth, there is nothing communal about it. There is no communal approach. It is only a nationalist approach that Amar Chitra Katha books have adopted, and they are, in fact, one of the finest examples of nationalist literature in India. Thank you very much for hearing me out. And these are some of the references. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chandni. Indeed, your presentation was very insightful and very interesting. The
Thank you.
role of Amar Chitrakatha in promoting national narrative, it in itself, it could be very, it's a good research topic for young researchers to do that. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastava. Thank you.
Moving to the next presenter, we have Dr. Anjan N. Acharya Tulsi National College of Commerce, Shimoga. The title of his paper is A Chronicle Suffering of Humanity in Chinnappa Bharati's Novels. Dr. Anjan, are you in the meeting? Okay, so Dr. Anjan, I don't think he is in the meeting. Moving to the next presenter, we have Pallavi Raut from Jawaharlal National University, New Delhi. The title of her paper is The Diverse Flavors of Appetite, an exploration of food symbolism in that long silence by Shashi Deshpande. Ms. Pallavi? Yes, you may begin. Yes, Ms. Pallavi, you are very much audible and visible. And please keep your presentation brief if I can request you. Thank you.
Sure. So good afternoon to all. And as ma'am introduced my topic, the title of my topic is The Diverse Flavors of Appetite, an exploration of food symbolisms in the novel That Long Silence by Sashi Deshpande. So my presentation or end my paper is around my research. Actually, my research was around the representation of food symbolism in literature. So I'll begin my presentation with a quote by Terry Eagleton that we all are aware of, that if there is one sure thing about food, it is that it is never just food. Like the post-structuralist text, food is endlessly interpretable. And his
Pallavi, you are not audible.
yes, Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
audible.
yes, Pallavi.
Continue.
Yeah, sorry for the glitch. Yeah, so my research is about the food symbolism that had been used in the novel That Long Silence. So before I go into the novel, I would like to say that as my research area was around the different representation of food as symbolic entities to portray different things, and this my topics were about physical appetite and social appetite, and the last part of my presentation also deals with food used as a symbol of resistance in the novel. So the first part of my presentation or the paper dealt with the physical appetite that has been used through various food symbols like chutney, shira, and bhajiyas. So I'll begin with the symbol of chutney, and this symbol of chutney comes in the incident where Mohan, the Jaya is the protagonist of the novel, like we are aware of, and Jaya's husband is Mohan, who is a patriarchal figure, in the novel. So he is recounting his life of his mother and how this woman was suppressed or oppressed under the patriarchal ideas of his father, of his tyrannical father, that would be appropriate to say. So his father, Mohan's father, used to come late home, and he would never inform his family about his coming late, and his mother, she would wait for him, and she would cook the food that he's going to eat again when he's coming back. So that was the oppressive nature of his father, and this particular incident of chutney that is there in the novel is that Mohan's father comes to home. His mother, she serves him the food like rice and chutney, and he throws away the plate of food, and then he says, "This chutney is stale. I want fresh chutney," and then he goes away from the house. Then his mother, she asks her children to go and bring, borrow a green chutney from their neighbor, and then she grinds the chutney, and then she cooks rice again and just waits for her husband to come back. So here chutney has been used as the stale chutney, to be specific, has been used to depict the uh, repressed desires or the oppressed desire of the mother, and also the physical desires of Mohan's father, which is now has become stale because the body of the woman, of his wife, has become of no use now after a lot of childbirth. Like we saw, there are four children of the lady, and then the newborn baby is still dependent on the mother for milk. So we see there is a tension in the relationship of the two, and because the tension has escalated because of the less the reduction of physical appetite of the woman, and she's no able to satiate the physical desire of her husband. The second one is shira. Shira is kind of a pudding, or we can say it like we know kheer. Okay, so shira is a symbol of the woman's desire, and this has been there in the incident where Manda is cooking a shira for her daughter Nilima, who has been told by her grandmother to take to be in fasting to get good husband in future, and she comes home to this Jaya's house, the protagonist of the novel, and there we see that Jaya, who never likes Shira as much, she has a very good liking towards this the Shira that they serve her, and this becomes a symbol of her repressed desires. And why I say it, because this is the time when Mohan is away from house. He has left their house in anger because Jaya, in a way, told him that you whatever you did, like we know the story how Mohan was engaged in a forgery case in the novel, so he was suspended from his work. So when Jaya said that you did this for the family, Mohan was angry and he left house. So this was a case where Jaya would never eat Shira in the presence of Mohan, but after Mohan leaves, in the absence of Mohan, she is eating this. So in a way, the repressed desire of Jaya is coming out, and that has been satiated through her eating of Shira. The other one is bhajia. It is it's part of the same incident, and then bhajia, she is devouring bhajia. Earlier also she did not like it like Shira, like as I told before. So then she's devouring bhajias, like these are fetters that we know, pakodi. So she is devouring it after Mohan's leave. So in a way we see the consumption of food in the novel through particularly Shira and Bhajya is the surfacing of the desires of women which has been repressed under the tyranny of the physical or the patriarchal ideal of their family, which are actually male members. The second part of the presentation is about the social appetite. And what I mean by social appetite is here I mean about having an identity, and the other one is the desire for wealth or improvement in one's economic condition. So the first part is identity. Now, as we see that when we consume food, it's becoming a part of our body. So it becomes a part of the self, the body that we are possessing. It's becoming a part of our identity. Now, the food, like we saw, the various food like shira and bhajia, which are a kind of surfacing the repressed desires, is also in a way asserting the actual self of these of the characters, the female, especially the female characters of the novel That Long Silence. And the second part is about the second social appetite is about the desire for wealth or the improving of one's economic condition. And this has been shown by the portrayal of batata vada. And this is actually an endeavor of a house help name called Jiza in Jaya's house. She comes from a very lower economic condition. So Jaya Jiza, she endeavors by this business of batata vada, and batata vada becomes a symbolism of their struggle for livelihood, which has only been done by the female members of Jija's family, because the male member of the family, he spoils or he spends all the money that he earns on his alcohol and in his drugs. So batata vada becomes a symbol of the struggle for a livelihood of these women of Jija's family. And the other one is ice cream. Ice cream is, as we see, we know that sweets and or anything food that is a fun food is actually is luxury, which is only affordable to people who have money. So now ice cream, there's an incident where Jaya's family with their children, that is Rati and Rahul and Mohan, they go to a beach, and there this children are having ice cream. Then we see a bunch of children who belong to lower economic condition, and these children are coming to them and are just swarming around these people like Rati and Rahul, who are having ice cream in wanting of they are waiting for them to give it to them. So we see how ice cream becomes a symbol of this class divide that is there, and a symbol of how the wanting of the children who are from the lower economic condition of a luxury food or a fun food, we can say, like ice cream that we are aware of. So this becomes a symbol of the great class divide that we have in our society. Now, the last part of my presentation deals with food as symbolism of resistance. Now, in the novel, we see
Please
that
kindly conclude your paper because it is exceeding the time limit.
Yeah, sure. So food as resistance we see uh, in the upper eating onion, which is against the tradition of the Brahmin family, and we see how he eats, and then he is in a way resisting to the tradition of his family. Okay, to conclude, I would like to say that as we in the in my research, I found out the symbolism food has been used in the novel That Long Silence to represent all these kind of appetites, from starting from physical appetite to social appetite. So, the idea of this conference is about the emerging trends of social sciences and humanities. So, food in literature is an emerging field, and the research are being done is lately has happened lately in this current century only, and it's going to be a very emerging ground to actually critique literary pieces. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful presentation of yours. Um, the next presenter is Sagarika Debroy from Institute of Chartered Financial Analyst of India, Tripura. The title of her paper is Family Relations and Loneliness Among Young Substance Abusers of Tripura. Sagarika, ma'am, am I audible to you? Yes, you may begin, ma'am.
ma'am, just a minute. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all of you presented over here. Myself, Shagorika Debroy, research scholar from the Department of Psychology, the IKFA University, Tripura. Today, I am here to present my paper on this international conference on emerging trends in social sciences and humanities, conducted by Amity University. And my paper of the presentation is Family Relations and Loneliness Among Young Substance Abusers of Tripura. Now the thing is, what is substance abuse? Basically, substance abuse is a burning issue in today's world. Especially our young generation are more vulnerable towards these substances, and they take various illegal substances such as alcohol, cocaine, heroin, ganja, bhang, and various kinds of injectable drugs also. So for these substance abuse behaviors, various factors which motivated towards these substances. Among out of these factors, our family environment and loneliness plays a very vital role on these substances so through this research, I just want to conclude that what is the role of family and one's loneliness on abusing substances, because our family relations plays a very vital and significant role in our personality development, our social as well as our emotional development. Because when the children they feel avoided from their, or they feel ignored from their family members, they obviously they feel lonely and they want to come out from this loneliness with the help of various kinds of substances. And here I have mentioned some reviews of literature. Basically, I have done various kinds of literature which directly link to the family relationship along with these substances and with loneliness. And these are the objectives of my study: to evaluate the family relationship among young substance abusers of Tripura, to investigate the level of loneliness among young substance abusers of Tripura, to find out the relationship between family relationship and level of loneliness among young substance abusers of Tripura. Based on these objectives, this is my hypothesis: there exists no significant relationship between family relationship and level of loneliness among young substance abusers of Tripura. For this research, I have collected 60 data from young adults who are pursuing in various colleges and universities of Tripura, based on these inclusion and exclusion criteria. And for this study, I have used these three scale. First of all, I have used the screening test, because first I have screened out those students who abuse the substances, and after that I have applied two scale, that is family relationship inventory, and next one is the UCLA loneliness scale. Based on these procedures, and from this result, it has been found that the findings of the study is from the three dimension of family relationship is that the first one, that is acceptance, which is negatively significant at 0.01 level, and which is correlated with loneliness, because children who are got or who got acceptance from their family members, they tend to have mm, highly loneliness as compared to the individuals lacking acceptance. In case of concentration, this dimension is not significant with the loneliness, but in the dimension of avoidance, there exists a positive correlation with loneliness. That means children who are being avoided in the family are more feel lonelier, and after that they indulge substances. All these factors plays a very vital role in abusing substances among the young adults of Tripura. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for the presentation. Next presenter we have Dr. Anjan N. Acharya Tulsi, National College of Commerce, Shimoga. The title of his paper is A Chronicle Suffering of Humanity in Chinnappa Bharti's novel. Dr. Anjan, are you there? Sagrika ma'am, I request you to stop sharing your screen. Sagrika ma'am, please stop sharing your screen. Thank you. Okay, I don't think Anjan sir can hear me. I'm going to name one by one the presenters who were not able to present their papers. Maybe they have joined late. So we have Priyadarshini Purohit from Banastali University. Are you there? Okay. Dr. Monica Gaur, Chaudhary Charan Singh University. And last we have Dr. Anjan. Dr. Anjan, I can see you in the list, but I don't think there is some, you can hear me. Maybe there is some connectivity issue. Okay, so moving on to the discussions with and comments of session chair. Vijender sir, I request you to give your feedback
Yeah.
and comments on the paper presentation.
Yeah. First, I would like to congratulate all the presenters, and I invite the
That
presenters if anyone wants to ask any question or want to comment on the presentations, you are welcome. But in brief, if anybody, yeah, someone has raised hand, Anjan or Anjana, I
Yes,
don't see.
Dr. Anjan?
yes, tell me,
Dr.
ma'am.
Anjan? Yeah.
Tell me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, would you like to say something?
Uh, yes, ma'am. But the conference is conducted very nicely, ma'am. We are getting more information from the resource persons, and are also we are healthy discussion also, ma'am, happened, and we need to conduct such kind of a conferences as well as an offline mode. It's more effective and more
Anjan,
that is,
comment on the presentations.
sir.
Yeah.
Any comments you have related to the presentations?
No, ma'am. I don't have any.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So, first, I
Anyone else?
congratulate the
Okay, yes, sir. Please continue.
yeah. First, I congratulate you all, particularly the institute, that it conducted a conference on emerging trends in social sciences and humanities. And so far as particularly this session is concerned, I congratulate all the presenters. They presented well. Yet, I would like to comment on some of the papers. If I talk about the Lakshmi Shri's paper, its theoretical perspective on gender role and stereotyping, like that. So in that, we must never forget the religion and culture too. She discussed well, but yet religion and culture was left out. In next paper, it was good. Shreya Datta presented on representation of multiculturalism and analytical study like that. And in that, in multiculturalism, sometimes is very helpful for the marginalized sections because when monoculturalism prevails or predominates, then they have to face discrimination, subjugation, suppression, oppression. I mean, they are victim of all the social structures and constructions. So that must also be taken into account. And Saika Heather, an examination of representation of disabilities. This is really new, emerging trend in social sciences and as well as humanities as the core theme of the uh, conference is. Then Priyadarshini Purohit, she didn't present, I think. Or then Anand Bajaj, his paper was also good, very well presented, but it was, time was taken more. Then some Hita Singh, Khalid Hussaini's, I would comment that marriage customs, this was, Khalid Hussaini's The Kite Runners, and insight into Afghan culture. I mean, what kind of insight? The title itself must be rethought. I mean, an insight. What insight? The question arises in the title itself. And one more thing, Samhita, this is for you and all others who, write paper and present paper. the way a great literary master, Khalid Hussaini, or any other writer you mentioned in your paper, great literary master. I mean, if he is great, then what are others? They are not great. Or this is great piece of literature. This writing is great. No writing is great. No writing is ordinary. All are equal. But we have to look at from our perspective. I mean, we can't designate and categorize like this is great or all others are not. So please take care. Monica Goat didn't present. Bhavna Walls, it was good paper, multiculturalism, and she also brought into multiculturalism and IKS Indian knowledge system into the paper, and that is also an emerging trend in literature and social sciences, even in education, revolving around the NEP. And Chandani Sen Gupta, wonderful presentation. I liked it most. I relished it most. Contextualizing national, children literature, and nation narrative like that. And it was very good, presented well. Then Anjan Singh didn't present. Palvi also presented. And Palvi, this your paper was on food. So food is resistance, food is acceptance, food is class, food is caste, food is ethnicity, food is everything. So food also has so many diverse, connections and perspectives. So caste, class, gender, race, everything is there in the food. So we are to look at food from different perspective. Though that was not, part of your presentation, but food is not must not be taken or judged in isolation or just in vacuum. Sagarika Dev Roy, family relations and loneliness. So when we discuss about family, of course, there is role of family in loneliness or one's mental well-being of the children or their addictions, their habits. But now, what family is not just family. Family is shaped and reshaped by so many other factors around us. May it be, IT nowadays, may it be other factors, or may it be different factors. So family also, gets affected by the social fabric, social or political, the impacts around us. So in this way, I congratulate you all, and we must take into account one more thing. I observed in two papers when they, particularly, paper related to literature. One was the Kite Runner, Samhita, and also Ms. Dr. Anand's. So in title, I find that the main work they have studied, like in Samhitas, Kite Runner, it is mentioned in a single quote. I mean, even when we write title, we must take care or we must follow MLA. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the title is mentioned and it was not in italics. Neither it is put in single quote or double quote or not just normal font, but it must be italicized. So we must take into account all these aspects. And I again congratulate. And one more thing. Some of the presenters took long time. Please, dear colleagues and scholars, whenever we have time, I mean less time, and generally we are given 5 to 7 minutes. So please try to stick to your findings only, right? Findings only. So we must not waste our time, or we must not miss our content too, because in 7 minutes sometimes we are asked to sum up, and we miss our content that we have worked over the paper for so long period, many days or weeks or months. So try to be brief, try to bring your findings, and if someone asks you to present in 2 minutes, you must be ready to present in 2 minutes too. So that is my advice. And congratulations. And all the papers were wonderful. really wonderful. The observations, what I mean, observed, I gave. So from my side, it's over, and I thank you all, particularly organizers. Rashi is there, Shraddha is there, and Farheen and others, and particularly the institute who invited me to chair the session. So thank you all from my side. Over. Over to you, Rashi.
Thank you so much, sir. Your suggestions are very much valuable. And the subtle points that you mentioned, I mean, the time limit, and it is hard. In fact, brevity is the soul of wit, Shakespeare has said. And it is hard to present your entire paper in 2, 3 minutes. But I think that is the art we must all learn. And indeed, the small points that you have mentioned, we all value as academicians. And on behalf of Amity School of Languages, thank you so much, sir, once again, for gracing this occasion online.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
One and
And
all.
thank you all the
Thank you so
participants
much.
as well who have joined us from across the nation and the world. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rashi, am I allowed to leave the meeting now?
Yes, sir, you
Yes.
are allowed, sir.
Okay,
Definitely.
okay. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
thank you,
Thank
Thank you
Farheen,
so much, sir, for joining
Shraddha.
us.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Shraddha, thank you, particularly. Thank you so much to you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Requesting to all the participants